Can we see a picture of Jay Leto's tomahawk, Zach?
It's fucking sick. I remember.
Yeah, and it's actually four wheels, but they're all tucked together. And he is a cool dude. He was on the Hot Wheels show with us.
It's a bike.
And I ran into him at SEMA too. Like, just like absolutely down to earth guy.
It's like that. Like the way
Jay Leno was like, did you get to drive any of his fancy cars?
Oh, no. He drove one of ours, but no, he was like our like celebrity judge. Oh, yeah, that thing is just. That is one of the coolest looking motorcycles.
Isn't that the Batman motorcycle from the Christian Bale movies? Like
it's similar.
Chrome.
Similar concept. Yeah, that sort of hub center steering thing.
Yeah, this looks easier to drive than a normal motorcycle.
Yeah. The Christian Bale one is in the vault at the Peterson Museum in L.A.
Yeah, I like the new one better. The Robert Pattinson Batman had like a Honda 750 cafe racer.
The old school.
That was a cooler bike.
Yeah, I thought the Batmobile from that movie, I think, was one of the cooler Batmobiles too. It was just like a trophy truck. You know, it just seemed. I liked that movie a lot. Like a lot of people hated on it, and I think
loved
people were like, saw Robert Pattinson, the Harry Potter kid, and they're like, oh,
no, he's not Harry Potter. He's the Twilight kid.
Okay, I never saw that, but
he was in Harry Potter too. You're right. Yep, he was Cedric Diggory.
Yeah.
I used to hate on that guy because he was a Twilight guy in high school. It was like, why do you want that fruity vampire guy? Like, it was just weird that girls were into that. And it was but as his career has gone on, he's a tremendous actor in Lighthouse, in The King. He's very, very good. And as Batman, I loved him. I like him way better than Ben Affleck's goofy dimpled. He's got a dimpled chin under that mask. You'd be like, wait a minute. This is like a 1 out of 100 type. It'd be like if Batman had a big like burned chin or something, like a scar across his face, or you'd pick him out of a crowd.
Batman has vitiligo, and it's like, all right, we've got this narrowed down.
Yeah, he's got that one neck tattoo with the Joker on. The Harley Quinn neck tattoo. But I agree with you. I thought that Batman movie. I mean, the car was much more realistic, seemingly, but yeah, he just seemed a little more like he was just some crazy rich kid that kind of had this alter ego. It wasn't this glossy. I'm going to save the world. He kind of came across as very defective too, which made it a much more interesting character.
I like my Batman to be mentally ill. He should be because the idea is mentally ill. Like you can't have a well-adjusted sort of go out in the town. Yeah, I'm Bruce Wayne. I'm a cool guy. That can't happen. He has to be a weird fucking loner who's brooding all the time, sitting around mopey and covered in scars if this thing's going to work. And that's why I like Robert Pattinson in that role. He was a little bit
upset
small
with the way they portrayed Batman's parents, like as victims.
Weren't they? I thought they got mugged and killed.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
If you wear a fur coat, pearls, and a tuxedo and a fancy watch, and you go strolling down a place at night called Crime Alley, that's on you, fuck shit. You're an idiot.
Well, that didn't happen in the Robert Pattinson.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I agree. I really don't like him anymore.
I don't mean to victim blame, but
I do.
Dress down for Crime Alley.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about the Robert Pattinson one was, other than it wasn't quite as exciting as the Christian Bale ones. I never saw the Ben Affleck one, but at least Christian Bale like committed to be Batman, like the same way he committed to be Dick Cheney. He got fat as shit to be Dick Cheney. He got skinny. He almost died doing The Machinist.
Preach.
And then he got ripped to be Batman. And Robert Pattinson, didn't he say in interviews like, I'm not going to get jacked? And it's like, bitch, that's a huge part of this.
So he's pretty jacked. I know that he refused.
Can we see a picture?
I watched the movie last night, to be fair.
Oh, fuck. I saw it once when it came out, and I was kind of paying attention.
Yeah, it's been 12 hours since I last watched it.
It's been 12 hours since I watched the 3-hour Batman movie, and I was taking special note of his physique during it. And I did think to myself, this guy's like a 150 pounder. If he's in the UFC or something, he looks like this isn't the guy who can take on 3 to 4 men. I would rather have, just physically speaking, the guy from Reacher as Batman, some 6'4", 6'5" Goliath. Although then you do get into that thing where it's like, who could it be?
I don't know. There's 4 guys that look like this. 3 of them were in WWE live last night.
Reacher's a better detective than Batman. It is a little extreme.
But like as a big chunky guy myself, though, like it slows you down. Like if you jump off a building and you whip the cape out to glide it in. If you're a buck 50, that's a whole lot different than if you're 227 with some size 14 Batman boots on.
Now that's fair.
Yeah.
That's
You're gonna
fair.
come
If you're
in
gonna
like
be
a chest
sneaking
drawer.
around. And I like the Pattinson Batman because he's more of a detective and way less of a Bruce Wayne in this movie. He's there with the police in the room, like looking at evidence and solving things instead of that in the shadows vigilante who's just running from everything. I dug it. That's one of my favorite.
Would you
Batman.
look at a guy if you're a detective in New York or Gotham City?
Yeah,
you went to school, you're at all the time, whatever you do to be a detective. Could you look at a guy dressed in like a bat costume and a cape and like seriously say like, Batman, what do you think of this forensic evidence? Then he's like, well, I can't be sure.
The thing is,
in the movie, I think they kind of talked some shit about him in the movie, if I remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but
yeah, like he's in the room and the cops are like, "What is he doing here? What about chain of evidence?" And Commissioner Gordon's like, "He's wearing gloves." It's like, that's not what chain of evidence means. That's evidence contamination.
Well, if you don't trust me to handle this evidence with a bunch of discretion, I don't know what to tell you.
I like it. I like
the governor of Minnesota.
He gets results. What if there was some sort of like Harry Potter crossover where like he uses his Harry Potter magic to be Batman?
Oh, no, that I love.
That'd make him too powerful.
That I love.
Then he could just be like mysterious, unravelous.
I'm all about the Harry Potter universe. I like that J.K. Rowling is an ally. I like that.
Oh, she's hilarious. Her social media stuff is great. People are like, "Oh, I can't believe you wrote this character to be gay. I'm gonna burn all your books." She's like, "Whatever. I've got all your money anyway." Like, yeah, she's ruthless on that.
But it's probably something else. Yeah, they give her a hard time, even though her like cinematic universe is billions and billions and billions of dollars. It's got to be bigger than Lord of the Rings. I hate to say it, but it's got to be after eight films in the main series.
Oh, and as far as money,
you've got to know the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them series also exists too. That's 2 or 3 movies.
Oh, that's from a marketing standpoint. I mean, but Lord of the Rings is coming up on 100 years. I'm not a Tolkien fan, but I mean, it's coming up on 100 years.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely have.
And it is 6 movies, so it's not as far behind as you might think.
Oh, he did do 6 movies. Yeah.
I would put in there. They have the dwarf stuff. 2 of my favorite Your Mama jokes are Harry Potter based. One of them is Your Mama's so fat the sorting house put her in Waffle House.
All right, I dig it.
And the other one is Your Mama's so fat her Patronus is a cake.
Okay.
I don't know enough about Harry Potter to get it.
It's like they can like
spirit animal.
They basically like represent themselves as these little transparent blue characters that can do shit, and like if you're like heroic,
here's that Patronum and a little animal pops
clever,
out.
yours is an otter, but
you don't know what your animal's going to be until you.
I like that. I mean,
and it can change.
What was Harry's? A snake?
Oh, it was
the deer.
Was it a stag?
A stag.
Zach says stag.
Yeah. And then maybe his mother's was a doe.
I thought you were a real Potterhead, Kyle.
And then when Snape cast the spell at the end of the movie to save Harry, and he thinks it's his mother's, it's actually Snape's now Patronum is Lily's Patronum because he loved her so much.
Snape was a fucking loser. Like
Snape was a loser.
He was one of my favorite characters. I mean, I love a good villain like Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men, or like Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Bastards. Like, I love a great villain.
Yeah, they're good.
But like Alan Rickman absolutely killed that role because like he was like kind of funny sometimes. He was ominous all the time. You had this sort of backstory peeking through, but all he had to work with was like dramatic pause. Like he never got to raise his voice. He never did anything real action wise. Like just tone of voice and pause was really all he had to work with. Supposedly, J.K. Rowling told him the ending of all those movies, but nobody else, so that he could build his character for that. But yeah,
I heard that he was a mentor for all the younger actors on set. Like they really looked up to him and appreciated the career advice and like literal acting advice that he gave them.
Mm-hmm. Rupert Brent and him, I think, in particular, had a close bond. Yeah, I love that guy. He was a great actor. It's a shame he passed away.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
remember him in Quigley Down Under?
I like the character too.
He was like a 61-year-old man who was really upset about like a failed romance that happened like half a century prior.
Gotta let it go. But
I mean,
can you imagine, Kyle? Let's say you're 65 years old and a girl broke up with you when you were 15.
Yeah,
actually didn't even break up. We're never in a relationship, and then you get that kid's teacher or that kid's son, like you're going to bully.
Well, that's
that
not what
kid?
happened. You left out a big part of the story. What if there was a girl you always loved? You were friends with her as children. You bonded over your shared interests and attributes that you thought made you both you a freak, but she has them and she's so beautiful. She's not a freak like you. But then it all gets just ruined in school where her boyfriend bullies you relentlessly and she sort of looks on. And then once you've stomached all that and become a man and you're radicalized by all this incel hatred that's caused in you, you make the wrong mistake. You make this mistake where you give a message, you pass a message along, and that girl is murdered with her husband. And now the death is on your hands. And you have to live with that. And you go to your boss and you're crying and you're thinking, I hope he kills me when I tell him what I've done. And he says, no, I won't kill you. You will live with this, and like makes him live with it for the next 40 years or whatever.
That's even worse because then he had all that guilt and he still was bullying Harry, not teaching him the right spells. I don't remember a lot of the.
It really would have been
hate on Snape. He was a hero.
And when it would have been 60 years because in the movies, the Harry Potter kids show up when they're 11 and he was a baby. So this is really only about 10 years out.
10 years after, yeah.
When this all goes down. I'm still butthurt over some breakups I've had in the last 10 or 12 years. So, you know.
Is that really the timeline? I thought Snape was like a 65-year-old man in the show. And all the flashbacks to him with Harry's mom were like, they seemed like teens. The actor's a little bit too old to be playing who he is because I guess he should technically be like 30s, early 40s at the most.
Yeah, because like the timeline in the movie they're like, whatever 10 years old or so. They're 9 or 10 years old in the movie. Then I don't know. I guess it doesn't say how old Harry's parents were when they had him though. So presumably they weren't teenagers. So yeah, it could have been 25 years or so. Yeah, I don't know, but I enjoy those movies. I mean, as a
20.
As a gun-toting Harley rider, four-wheel drive dude that, like outwardly, it's not cool to do this, all that kind of stuff. Like, I love cartoons. I love, like, all this escapist fiction. I think is really great. It certainly works great for my brain. As an artist and a former movie special effects artist, the visuals are incredible. And, like, I have enough stress in my life of, like, real-life stuff that I don't want to go watch a movie watching somebody else deal with real-life stuff. I want to go see somebody find out they have magic powers or fight dragons or dress up like Batman or be a panda that turns out he's really kick-ass at kung fu. Like that kind of stuff is what is soothing to my brain.
If we're talking about made-up gay shit, Avatar doesn't get enough love.
I don't like Avatar. I've only seen the first one that didn't suck me.
Avatar, the cartoon in particular, not the blue people, but the
cartoon. Avatar with the fucking arrow.
Yeah, the
those
arrow
Asian
boy.
Kids' heads.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about that.
I was a little too old for that when it was coming out.
Unlike me.
You have kids who are like younger than me enough, so you get that overlap. Yeah. My youngest brother loved that show.
But he watched it on his own though.
Colin's fun. Watching it now. I did watch it with Colin, but now he's like going through all the seasons and stuff. I just walk through.
I have heard it's good, but
it is really good. It is really good. I would put the source material out there with the greatest source material there is. Like if there was a well done movie, I think it could be Harry Potter level or even Lord of the Rings level. But there's only poorly done movies thus far.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, the anime stuff I came up on was like old school, like Akira and some of that stuff from the 80s, Ghost in the Shell and Akira and Venus Wars and all that kind of motorcycle centric stuff when it was kind of like Japanese action movie. And I missed all that other stuff after that, all the current, whatever, it's not manga. What is it? I guess manga's the printed version, right? Whatever. Anyway, the last 30 years of it, I've kind of missed out on, but yeah, there was some really impressive storytelling back then. And as a Western kid that came up with like, Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry and those kind of cartoons, to see a cartoon where there's like boobs and people getting killed, motorcycle chases, and, the complexity. I mean, again,
you are selling
movie like Akira, your average, like a cartoon like Scooby-Doo, which I love, Scooby-Doo was shot on like 3 plates. There's like a background plate, possibly a foreground, and then one with the characters. Akira had like 57, and like shots where, a motorcycle's coming around a turn in the headlight, like the shadows would change. Every piece of gravel in the road, the shadow would track with the headlight. I mean,
I've never seen Akira, but I know that shot. Like that gets shown so often in like, I watch these videos that I guess are made to get high and just kind of jam out to. And it's just like easy listening with Akira graphics and stuff, and anime graphics in general. But I know exactly that shot of that motorcycle fucking leaned over going through the curve.
Coming out of the alley. Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, and from an artistic standpoint, I mean, I love motorcycles, so you had me right there. But yeah, artistically, or like that, like some of the rotoscoping they did, like the jukebox scene with the CDs coming in. I mean, that looked like damn near photographic level animation. Some of the like puddle reflections, like the rain scene in Ghost in the Shell, or there was another one called Robot Wars where it was this. They kind of brought different artists to come in, and several of them had some landscape shots that were nearly photographic and were just literally like painted on glass. This was like pre-computer age stuff, and
that's cool.
The artistry of it was just incredible. And to take, the expense to do something in a cartoon form was kind of groundbreaking back then. People weren't going to put $100 million in, I don't know what it costs, millions of dollars into something that.
New Neutrogena Sport. Non-greasy formula to give you winning protection.
Somebody who's going to go, this is a cartoon, it's going to be for kids. It's like, no. It's R-rated. It's violence and sex. But they're incredible to watch. I still enjoy them. Akira holds up to this day, in my opinion.
My favorite adult animation, and I don't mean like Rick and Morty, although that is clearly adult animation, but like big budget thing is Spawn on HBO by Todd McFarlane. And so Spawn is technically a Marvel hero, but he's a black secret agent who gets betrayed and literally goes to hell. And Satan offers him a deal to come back to Earth so he can be with his wife. And of course, it's a devil deal. So he accepts it and he goes back, but he goes back 5 years after he left, even though it feels to him he just left. He sends him back 5 years later. Now his wife is married off to his best friend and they have a baby together. And he's on the outside looking in. And when he melted in hell, that didn't heal up. So he's just like a burnt up booger dick. But now he has hellspawn powers because the devil wants him as a secret agent badass to be the leader of the hell army that's about to attack heaven. And so he has he has this crazy suit. And so if he thinks it sort of happens. And he has this cape that makes him fly. He has chains that comes out of his hands and tortures people. And there's, like you said, there's nudity and extreme violence. And it's a very adult animation. I love that. It's on HBO.
I couldn't
not quite that level of nudity, but like my favorite adult cartoon for years is, Futurama was genius, I think, but Archer I thought was one of the funniest shows that has been on TV in my lifetime.
They lost the plot when, I don't remember what season it was, but they just started like everything was like a new
like a whole new
vignette.
Universe.
Every single season was like,
right when he got his
now
coma.
they're just cocaine salesman. Now he's in a coma.
Well,
now they're fucking cowboys.
They did like a Miami Vice season, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. So what happened? The cocaine season really happened, but because I think they got paid with like a literal metric ton of cocaine, and there's jokes about what metric tons are. It's only 1,811 pounds. What? Why would they do that? But he has a coma. He like gets hurt, falls in a pool, and goes to a coma around season 5 at the height of my fandom for the show. And the following maybe 4 or 5 seasons,
decade.
They're out
he's in the coma, and it allows them to like remix the show into this new thing. And it's like, no. I didn't love your writing and your artistry so much that I would just stomach it no matter what the characters were up to or no matter who the characters were. I liked the formula you came up with, where Archer's the world's best secret agent, but he's a bit of a goofball. I like that.
He's kind of Mr. Magoo, right? Where he like almost trips into being an outstanding secret
idiot
agent.
savant.
Yeah, absolutely. And to this day, just to this morning, like I found a crumb on the floor of my office, and I'm like, in my mind, it's Mallory going, "This is how you get ants."
Do you want ants?
So many little sound bites from that show that were just great. And I liked the remix. I really only saw like the first season and a few of the other ones. I've been on the go so much in the last decade, I haven't really even watched that much television. But the ones that I saw, I did like that remix. It was funny because like it kind of proved that the concept works, whether it's in some Indiana Jones adventure thing, some film noir, whether it's Miami Vice, whether they're out in space. Like the formula works with these dysfunctional people that all collectively together can kind of, like you said, Mr. Magoo their way into stuff. But yeah, it was just funny. I mean, I liked all the little science jokes. You know, there'd be some little vague reference where, you know, somebody's messing with the radio and they're like, you know, thanks Marconi or whatever. Like there would just be these little references to tiny little scientific things that were just funny. The Heart of Archness, the one where he becomes the Pirate King, was just hysterical.
Oh, I remember that one.
You know,
that's an early season. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know, skilling that Noah guy.
Yeah, that's when he's like on the run or whatever. He's given up on life, and his mother sends one of her exes to go rescue him in that seaplane.
Yeah,
they came out like I think I was still in college, like late college when they came out. Yeah.
The funniest line from that episode is like they're flying in the plane, and the guy that was like his mother's ex-boyfriend was like trying to school him on something, and he was like, you know, don't talk to me like you're my dad. He's like, you're not my dad, are you? And he's like, not unless you're 13. Which was just a great like flex to like I shagged your mom 13 years ago, which I thought was hilarious. Yeah,